we're planning for our last trip of 2025. Before we go on that journey, I'm going to show you some of the gadgets that I've got and also some of the things that I've done to get this motorhome winter ready. So stay tuned and watch to the end to see what we got.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. We're Becky and David, and these two are Elijah and Sunny. Together, we make Sunny's Adventures. If you're new to our channel, we travel the UK and Europe in our A-class motorhome, sharing real family adventures and honest campsite reviews. If you love motorhome life, travel with kids, and a bit of fun along the way, this is the channel for you.
You have to excuse the state of the motorhome. We haven't been in it since our last adventure, but we've got everything in it to go back in it and get it sorted, which Becky's going to do tomorrow night. But in the meantime, because of the colder weather, we have been just preparing the motorhome for basically the colder temperatures. So if you don't know about this, or you've just recently got a motorhome, then it might be worth watching. So we've got the Truma air-blown heating system and water tank in this. And the best thing to do if the temperature's going to drop is just drain that. It's very easy to do. They've actually got a sensor in them which I think kicks in when the temperature drops below zero. I'll put the actual stats on the screen right now, but that only kicks in when the power's on. So if I turn the power on now to the boiler and that, it might kick in. But I'll show you the manual way of actually draining your boiler. Now our boiler's actually underneath this seat, which is really convenient because in the roller team it was at the back there. Excuse the mess. It was in the back there behind, basically underneath the bed, so it was a real pain. So you either go in the garage and there was like an inspection panel, or you could kind of reach down through the bed. So this should be much easier to get to. So let's get to it. I'm hoping you can see that okay. I'll just get rid of these pillows. Then voila, one boiler. As mentioned earlier, this is the Truma system, so it might be worth looking at what boiler system, what heating system you've got in yours. If you remember on Bertha, she had like a drain plug on the outside, so that was quite easy to do. This one's slightly different, but it's automatic once you do the thing I'm about to show you. So all under here, you can see this thing here. This is what it looks like. You've got the water feed going through it, and there's a little tab on the top here. So if the temperature was really low right now, this would have automatically gone off as soon as I put the power on, but because it's not, we're going to do it manually because it's better to be safe than sorry. So all you do is you just twist this and that happens. And then what you'll hear is the boiler emptying on the floor outside. Ours is empty actually, coincidentally, so it's not doing it. And then to reactivate this, because one thing I've been guilty of before is I've turned it to a campsite and forgot that I'd done this, and then you filling up the tank and it's pouring out the bottom. So with this one, to just re-engage it once you're ready to go out and fill it up again, you do this. You twist that back, and you see down here's a little button. Just push that in. Job done. And then if there's any water in your system, you can just open the taps on your motorhome. Ours is obviously empty, so but yeah, open them until it starts to bubble through, and that means that the rest of the water that's in the pipes that might freeze comes out the system. That's a good point actually. The reason why you do this is because if the pipes freeze, there's a risk of them bursting, and then you'll have a leak somewhere in your motorhome, which you don't want because it's costly, and getting to stuff like pipe work is a real pain in the bum. So it's better to be safe than sorry. The next thing to do is, if you've got a toilet flush system, we don't have one in this, it's fed straight from the water, then you need to empty that. I can't show you that because I haven't got it, but that's another thing to do. And then empty the toilet cassette of anything as well. So you should be doing that anyway if it's been left. So the next job on this one is just to go to the water tank, and there's actually a plug to pull out. So this is the P-Lot G740 Evidence. Just so you know, A-class. So you can undo this, and under here there is a plug, and if you can see that down there, I can just hopefully pull it out. That's the only water I've got left in our system, now gone. So yeah, that's it. Wait for that to drain off, and that's us. Just do that back up. In addition to, it doesn't matter if it's wintertime, but in addition we run a radiator in here, and we also have two dehumidifiers. So the colder temperature, I have this little oil-filled rad going. And I've got these little dehumidifiers that I bought on Amazon. There's one in here and there's one in the garage, because I've got a plug socket in the garage. So yeah, it picks up a fair amount of water. I mean, I don't know if you can see the level on there, but there is water in there. It's just all condensation really from when you're in the van. You don't realise how much condensation builds up. Anyway, over to the gadgets. So I created a little bit of a wish list and I'd been chipping away at it. So I'll start with number one. Coming from the Fiamma awning to a Thule or Tool one, I find that the feet are a real pain because they're not very big on the awning to try and peg in. So I saw these. You can buy a whole kit with everything in, with all the pegs and stuff, but I've got all that already in my own way or shape or form. So I've got these foot plates that basically clip over the feet, and it gives you a much bigger working space to actually peg your tent pegs, or whatever you want to call them, in awning pegs down. So I've got two of those. They're called the Anchor Plate 2. So I look forward to trying them. I'm hopefully going to try them this weekend, so watch this space. Now, the guy who came to our last motorhome to do the tyres, he laughed at the pump that I've got, and he said you'd really struggle to pump up your tyres with that. So I bought from Amazon again a heavy duty pump that's used to doing trucks, because if I want to do my tyre pressure and stuff like that, it's going to take forever on the one that I've got, and actually it just doesn't really do it. So this is more suitable for the job. So it's like a proper compressor, plus I can do our air suspension with it as well. Oh, it runs off a 12-volt adapter, so I can plug it straight into the EcoFlow. Any people who love travelling to Spain, you might know about this V16. It's a new beacon that the Spanish authorities want you to have to save you getting out of your vehicle. Yeah, it's got GPS location on it and a SIM card, so I bought one of those. Once again, I think it was an Amazon job. It wasn't too expensive. Yeah, so I'm just going to carry one of these. I've not actually been to Spain yet in the motorhome, so I'm going to carry one just in case, because it's better to be safe than sorry. And then I've bought the little I'll show you on the screen, but I've bought a tyre pressure monitoring system, because I don't think this tells you in this Fiat. This is a 24 plate Fiat Ducato. I don't think it tells you what your tyre pressures are if they're low. So I've got they're basically like little screw caps that go over your wheel caps. Not wheel caps, over your valves, sorry. And then it has a little display screen. So I'll show you on the screen right now what I mean. That shows your pressure. So I thought it was quite good, that. But that wasn't too expensive. I think it was around £20. I'll leave the links in the comments for these products just so you can see. And then for the back here, we've got a telly, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it. We've got the cello. We've got the cello TV there. But I bought the same TV again. This one's got DVD as well, actually. These are good. These cello TVs, the sound quality is great. They've got smart TV, and the Traveller ones are 12 volt. So this is the cello Smart Traveller 19-inch TV with DVD. So when we try, like if Becky and I want to watch a film in bed, we currently have to push the TV around here, and when you're back here, you can't really see it. So I noticed this was here, and I didn't know what it was. So I was going to order a bracket. Then I looked online, and I actually found that this was a TV bracket. I don't know if you can see that in the pack. I'll get it out in a second. That is a TV bracket, but part of it's missing because it must be attached to the TV it was connected to. So yeah, it's like a two-piece set. Sorry, and that goes there, and then this then slides over it, and the TV mounts onto it. So yeah, so I'm going to put the TV there, so we have a TV for our bedroom area. And then the last and final thing that I've got is a C-line 12-volt socket, because oddly, down here, we've got a 3-pin plug, and I don't understand why. It's a very odd place to have one, and I assume it's for the TV that was there, but I'm going to replace that for a 12-volt socket. And you get the pleasure of watching me do that. So if I have more hair when you next see me, you know I've been electrocuted. So let's get to it. Just one thing I thought I would check, that actually slides over this, so yeah, like that. Job done. So yeah, TV mounts to this and then just slides on. That's easy, innit? I've noticed on some of the P-Lot as well, when I've looked at models online before, they've actually got a 12-volt socket up here, but we haven't, so I'm going to route it down there and we'll just deal with it. Everything's chucked around at the back here at the moment because we've got to make the beds up and things like that. So let's get the TV out first and see what we've got. So in there we've got the 12-volt socket, some adapters, that's the remote, bits and bobs, nothing exciting in there, and then we've got a TV. Now I might see if I can put a spacer on this side, so instead of it sitting flat, I'll try and show you. Yeah, instead of it sitting flat like so, if I put a little spacer out, it might just sit like that, possibly. That was better. I mean, that's not a problem, but just be easier. So if you sit over that side, you can see the TV a bit better. I've got a whole load of spacers, so it might work or it might not. Either way, we'll find out. So like that. Well, which side is it? It's this side. So this side. Will it work? Let's just try it first and see if we can get it going. Find bolts long enough as well. They're too big, aren't they? Yeah. Too big. It might be way too big. Might have to try something a bit more tame. See that going in there? My little screwdriver. Give it a go. I'll just check the bolts aren't longer than it's allowed to be, so don't go for the back of the TV. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? There we go, they're in. So it just gives us a slight pitch on the bracket. You see that? Just steps it away slightly. Let's do a quick test mount to see if my plan has worked. Oh yeah, there you go. It hasn't given it much, but it's given it more. I don't know if you can see that, but it's pitched out slightly. So when you're over there now, you can actually see a bit of the TV. Job done. Now, to put the socket in. I might be tempting fate slightly up here because it's night time and I've got to switch all the power off first to be able to do it. So I've got my lights and that, but it might just be worth waiting until the morning. That's what the TV looks like now. So you can just see it's stepped out a bit from one side. So when you're back here, it's nice and stable. Just a point actually, one thing you need to consider when putting a TV bracket in for a motorhome is when you drive, you can't have like the one at home, because it will just fly about. So like the one at the front there locks in place and then you can tighten it up. Same with this one, it doesn't move, so it's rigid. So it's kind of what you need in a motorhome. So just something to bear in mind. Right, we'll get down here and isolate the power. Just switch off here first. I've got lights set up at the back there, so it'll be like this, which I think will be plenty enough for us to see. Just get down there. Let's get down here, open this up. Oh, doing these things one-handed. That's off. That's off, so there's no power to the sockets. That's off because that's gone off. So now I've got no power to Les Motorhome. Unplug that. I can move the mattress out of the way, to be fair. It's dusty. This cover allegedly just pops off. There you go. These C-line systems are meant to be decent, he says. There's one side. There's another. There we go. So they just pop up. There's 4 screws, and this is the one that's going in there. So we'll get that in that like that, hopefully. I'm hoping you can see some of this. I haven't really got much room to work with. Right. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. I wasn't expecting. That's really annoying. I was not expecting that at all. It's times like these that shows you just leave it to the bloody experts. I was expecting behind there to be the 240 feed and a 12 volt feed, but no, it was just 240. So I can't fit this, which is fine because I can still plug that in. It's got a 3-pin plug with it as well. It's just frustrating because I wanted to get it done. So sad face. So it looks like I'm possibly going to have to get a 12 volt socket fitted up there. So I will leave it to my dear friend Dean from the Bertha video to come and do that for me, because I clearly am a buffoon. What nightmares have you had in your camper van, motorhome, self-build? It's a little bit tough for these because I didn't build it. I don't know what's behind stuff. I don't know where power is, etc. So it's always a bit of a gamble. But I was expecting that to be a kind of easy changeover, but obviously not. So yeah, let me know what your challenges have been, your mistakes have made. I've made loads of them, and I'm not ashamed of it. But yeah, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, press that subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified of our future content, and stay tuned to see what's up next. This weekend we're going to Sandringham to the Caravan and Motorhome Club site, and we're going to go there in our motorhome, which is why we're getting it ready. And we're also meeting my mum and Rob in Bertha, so you'll get to see her in action. So fingers crossed she makes it. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, and let me know below, is Bertha going to make it from Kings Lynn to Sandringham? It's about 15 minutes drive, so who knows.
Okay. Language, English, checked. Bosnian, Deutsch, Français, next, button.
The TV works. Yay. Thanks for watching.